Welcome to my podcast, where I discuss various topics related to real estate in Quebec and in Canada. Every episode, I unpack a different topic to help you be more informed. In this episode number 3, I'm going to be talking about step 2 of 8 in our process to successfully purchase your next home. Step number 2 is called defining your need. So if you remember in the first episode, I gave an overview of the 8th step. In the second episode, I discussed step 1, which was know your cost. And now we get into defining your need, okay? The outcome of this step, right? What you want to end up with at the end of this step is a list with all the features and characteristic of what you're looking for in your next property. And each item on that list would have been labeled with whether these items are negotiable or non-negotiable, right? And everybody's list is going to be different. So you may have on your list, I want 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, I want to have a garage, I want to have a pool, I want to have a jacuzzi, I want it renovated, not renovated. Doesn't matter what these features are. You list all of them. And for each line item, you're going to label whether they are negotiable or non-negotiable. Right? So that's what you want to end up with at the end of the step before you go to step 3. Now, I want to spend some time talking about why you want to do this during step 3. Okay? So step number 1 and step number 2, as I said previously, they are logical exercise. And we know that purchasing a home, buying real estate, there's a lot of emotion tied to that transaction. Okay? And we're never going to eliminate completely the emotional aspect of the decision making. But what we want to try to do is limit the amount of emotion in the decision and try to inject a bit of logic so that long term you don't end up regretting your purchase. So that is the objective. So the outcome is you have your list, what is negotiable, what is not. And then the objective is to ensure, just like the objective of step number 1 is we want to ensure long-term satisfaction. And having that list will obviously help you when you start searching for a property and you're not finding something within your budget. You'll be able to just focus on what are the non-negotiable and let go of the negotiable. That list, if you are purchasing with your husband, your spouse, family member, doesn't matter. You also want to make sure that they are also aligned with what you've put on that list and how you've labeled the items on that list. And that will help you tremendously during your property hunting and making sure you're aligned and make the process much more smoother without any friction. Okay? Also, what you put on that list is going to be proper to you, right? What was on my list, what is going to be on your list may be different, right? There's always some items that are common, but what is important here, and nobody can dictate to you what should and should not be on your list, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. You're going to have everybody tell you, oh, you need this, you need that, right? So you can take some advice, but at the end of the day, what you decide to put on that list and what you decide to label as negotiable and non-negotiable needs to align with your short, medium, and long-term objectives are. Okay? Because if it doesn't align, then you're going to be excited at the beginning. You're going to purchase your property. Then when the hedonic treadmill kicks in, a year, 2 years later, regardless of when it starts, then you're going to start having regrets and you're not going to be happy with your purchase. So it's very important that whatever's on that list and how you decide to label them aligns with those, especially your long-term objective. Okay? So you want to make sure that you don't confuse a want with a need. And we often do that, unfortunately. And to highlight that confusion of want versus need, I want to talk about a study that was published a few years ago. And there was I believe a Wall Street Journal article. And I think the study was published in July of 2012. And it was conducted by a university in LA. And it was a study of 32 middle-class family. And the objective is they wanted to gather data on how the middle-class family were living. And it was conducted over a 4-year period. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but there was something like 20,000 picture that was cataloged. They catalog all their possession. They've taken 15 hours of footage, like a family footage. And there was a bunch of data that were published as a result of this study. And for example, one of the data was 75% of garages of the family they studied had no rooms in them anymore because of all the stuff that they've put in there. And I remember when I read this, I kind of laughed because I have a garage. I don't put my car in it. And everybody on my street have a garage. I walk my dog regularly, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody park their car in the garage. Like literally, I don't think anybody. And you probably have witnessed the same situation, right? Often these garages are very tight. So if you park your car, and especially if you have kids, they enter and exit a car like Viking raiding a village. So, they're going to dent the door. Anyways, very seldom people actually park a car in their garage. So it was kind of interesting to actually see data on it. 75%, that's a large volume of number. And I say this because often garages are on people's wish list, and it's like, no, I need this because I'm like in the winter. Like I live in the greater Montreal area, and we have brutal winters, but yet nobody parks a car in their garage. People will set up a shelter instead, right? So, a shed, if you want to put your stuff, a shed is way less money than paying the extra garage. So something to think about. But the most interesting finding in that study was one of the family in that study. The researchers spent a few days with them, especially in the afternoon and the evening. And every 10 minutes, they recorded where each family member were located in the house. And in the study, they published a floor plan. And in that floor plan, there was a bunch of red dots at random places on the floor plan. And the red dot represented the families where they were spending most of their time. And what they found was that 68%, about almost 70% of the time, the family spent it in the kitchen and in the family room. So the dining room, the formal living room, where we sometimes put these exotic sofa and nobody uses, were barely ever used. But we're paying for that. That extra space, you're paying for it in your mortgage, right? So that money could have been maybe invested somewhere else, right? So something to think about when you're making that list. Think of what is truly needed, and is that really a need or a want, right? And are you confusing both? Again, as long as it aligns with your short, long-term objective. I'd like to leave you on a quote from Morgan Housel. The quote comes from the book, The Psychology of Money, and I think it illustrates very well today's topic about needs and want. And the quote goes as follows. Your saving, your monetary saving, is the difference between your income and your ego. I think that's worth saying again. Your saving is the difference between your income and your ego. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you.